welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. With 4 race starts, we're going to start with our Category 4 riders, then 3, 2 and 1. Our riders lined up in yellow, that is our Category 1 riders. In green, our Category 2. In blue, Category 3. And Category 4 in red.
This start is so interesting. The flat 200 metres followed by a kilometre of downhill, really causing a challenging start for our race categories today. 40 seconds back to Bago at the moment, a further 20 seconds back to the chasing group. It is a chase group, but these 4 looking strong at the moment as they push their way towards the top of this climbing section. These 2 riders, Bruni, look at the dig from McCarthy and Bruni. Absolutely adamant they're getting back onto the leading 2. So this is going to be a group of 4 riders. They have done it. We saw Maria Holcroft and Amelia Velt earlier on in this race. They were 14 seconds back on the leading group. But congratulations to Holcroft and Velt because they have reeled the leaders back in. Hadlock and Holweiler neck and neck trying to break the group. Rebecca Johnson moves up into 3rd. De Silva and Barrigan, but Barrigan and De Silva are now at 2 seconds. And is Angel Hadlock making the most of this climb? Can she stay clear? Idzik now pushes. Idzik now goes. Hamilton pushes hard on her wheel. Hamilton pushes. Can Hamilton come over the top of Idzik? That's the banner. Hamilton's going to take this from Idzik. Kristen Hamilton takes it from Natalia Idzik.
So hello and welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club Qualifier race number 2. Yes, I'm back. I have returned from the wilds of the Pyrenean Mountains in Andorra, and I have to say thank you very much to everybody who watched from the Sunday Race Club when I was out doing UCI Mountain Bike World Championship coverage. Thank you very much to Emma. I really enjoyed watching last week's shows. If you haven't watched them back, please do jump on board, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and make sure you give those a watch. But it's not the only World Championships.
No, it's not. And I'll tell you something. Can I just go back last week?
Oh, yeah.
The New Worlds, Matt. You
Yes.
missed being on the MyWhoosh New Worlds.
Wow.
Phenomenal. It was great.
It looked amazing. And having watched them back, it's great to jump on board. I watched them before I actually got on board the bike. We're not in the new world, so we are in, well, it's relatively new, but that's relativity is everything.
It's a traditional bike racing world today because we're going to Belgium. I love this course. Well, 35 kilometres of racing, 324 metres of climbing, and 4 are women. They come out of start pen. It's a pretty much pan-flat 6 kilometres through the Ghent City Sprint. Then they're onto the Kortekeer climb. This is the longest climb of the day at 3.9 kilometres. An average gradient of 2.5%, but do not let that fool you into thinking this is easy because take a look at the gradient. It goes up, it drops down, and then it goes up again. And that steep kick at the end of the first part of the climb, 17%. Then drop down through the Tissenhoven Mole and sprint up the Valkenburg climb. Then they transition into the 2 final climbs of the day, the Eichenberg Hill and the Eichenberg climb, before the run to the finish. And it's a 6-kilometre run to the finish. And I can tell you something, I'm looking forward to some sprints today.
I think that is likely to be the action that happens at the end because, as we know, this is a great race route for forming groups in all of our race categories to make those riders work, irrespective of whether at the front, the back, or the middle of their race fields. 4 race fields taken to our start line. Category 1 in yellow, 2 in green, 3 in blue, and Category 4 in red. Our riders in the red, our Category 4, our first group of riders away. We've got some amazing riders in our Category 4 race, and great to see them down on the start line and ready. Our teams, well, the Petit 4 squad, the ever-present Petit 4 squad are here with Nikki Lloyd and Simone Francis, are dual captains of that squad. 13 nations on our start list.
Wow. Well,
wow. Yes, Matt did come out with a numerical stat.
Oh, I know. Well, that wasn't actually why I was saying saying wow. I was saying wow at the range of nations, but Filder is here, Thompson is here, Tejeros, Bremner, Lenore, Narvaez. Keep an eye out for Narvaez. Elavink always goes well on this course as well. Bago is here, Smithson, Idzik, Aitken. Petra Aitken's been riding really well recently, but Tejeros is the rider we are with at the moment as away go category 4. They are up and they are out of the start pen for, I was going to say, a sedate start because it's 6 kilometres of flat. But I know these category 4 riders, it's not going to be sedate. And Angie Solenzano is on the front, drilling the pace out of the start pen.
She is indeed absolutely nailing this to get out and away. And riders being caught out if they're not careful here. You really want to be in this pack. Now, a group are heading out 6K of absolutely, I mean, as we saw on the profile, it is pancake flat. There is nothing.
Take a look at the top right-hand corner of your screen. That's the gradient. It's not just a white line.
It's a proverbial flat line. But the heart rate of our riders, well, that's right on the centre of the screen. Fortunately, not on the right-hand side. And as you can see, our riders having to work from the gun. If you're new to the Sunday Race Club, if maybe you've been watching the World Championships, semi-finals, or the qualifiers, thank you very much for joining us. It's great to have you with us. Hopefully we'll take you through a little bit more detail about the Sunday Race Club. The Sunday Race Club is every single Sunday. We have 4 races most Sundays. Some months it's 5 because obviously it does vary depending on the calendar month. The last Sunday, though, of every month is our finals. Now, in the qualifiers, we have individual prizes for the riders for the top 5. And, of course, bragging rights for our riders for where they are in the racing. When we go to our finals, the teams, well, that competition comes into play, and that's in the last weekend. To get into the finals, you must ride 2 qualifying events and have verified results in those. To go through to the finals, all the riders in all the race categories are verified across all of the racing, which means that we know that all of our riders are in and are producing real numbers. And the verification was applied to the World Championships semi-finals, applied to our Sunday Race Club. Big prizes, lots of great racing for people of all abilities. And Emma, I think it's really good. We've seen a big growth over the last year or so. It's really accelerated up in the women's race field on MyWhoosh in the Sunday Race Club, and lots of very good riders, but also, you know, not just our experienced riders, but some new riders as well. A real community starting.
We have riders coming in right the way across the board in all 4 categories, and the numbers in those categories are swelling. Over the last few months, we've been well over 130 to 150 women on the Sunday Race Club, you know, and that has been absolutely fantastic. I can tell you, when I joined the Sunday Race Club commentary team, which is, what month is it now?
It's
September.
So yeah, I had to think about that one.
So I joined August 2 years ago. So I've now been on the Sunday Race Club team for just over 2 years. And when I joined that first race, there were about 30 women on the start sheets 2 years ago.
And it shows you that big growth, and we're looking forward to more. You can see Natalia Idzik on here. Idzik, one of our star riders in category 4, very strong rider. Lots of great skills sitting in there. Sat on the bike in her personal paint cave.
This course will suit Idzik today. When we were here in Qualifier 1 in August, which is the last time the women raced here, Idzik took a 3rd place in category 4. The woman who won that day, Karolina Chuzekowicz, she has moved up to category 3 since then. Vink was 2nd, Idzik 3rd, Fielder, and then Hamilton. So I am reckoning Natalia Idzik will be right up there today.
Okay, no pressure, Natalia, from Emma on that one, but I don't think that's a bad prediction at all, a bad shout out there, because this course are definitely going to suit certain riders. Now, as you can see, we're going through the sprint. Within the Sunday Race Club, the sprints count towards the wearing of the green skin suit. That green skin suit awarded to the riders with the cumulative points, each sprint scoring points 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1 on the way through the race. There are 2 sprints in today's racing, and you can see that Julieta Narvaez is the rider who's taken that green skin suit because she had the fastest time through there, but that could change when we get the next sprint added in. So category 4 through the sprint, category 3 are our next group of riders ready to take to race start here. The teams in here, well, the Grand My Gear squad are back again. Angel Ann Hadlock, Stefani Piccolo, and Tanya Howeiler are definitely a who's who of riders in Category 3, but we have 20 nations on the start list. Now we're going to go for a run through these riders once they've set off. We've also got Team Golden Light here, represented by their team captain, Golden Light, in here from the UAE, but a real mix of nations from around the globe heading out, because Category 3 are away. The race start very, very quick, and it is in fact our Chinese rider Shiki Fu that we followed from the line. Now we run Joy Mayer just taking that left-hand turn, and from the gun, it's gone bang.
I'm just taking a look at that, and I'm seeing riders at 5.96 watts per kilo coming out the start pen. And take a look at the stretch on the pack. What is going on in Category 3 today? Did they not realise it's a pan flat 6 kilometres?
Well, I think there's some eager legs to race, and I think part of the issue, it's not an issue, but part of the character of this course is that if you want to make this course really, really, really hard for people, you have to almost do it from the gun if you want a really long race, because otherwise it boils down to 4 really sharp, really nasty climbs with a lot of relatively easy terrain in between.
Which I get at the end of the month when this is a final, because team competition comes into play and the team tactics come into play, and sending one of your riders down the road to make the racing different. I really get that. Well, Karolina Ciezekowicz is the rider on our screen at the moment. She took the win here when she was in Category 4 in August, Qualifier 1. She's progressed to Category 3, and you can see her part and parcel of the front of that pack.
She is indeed a regular rider, absolutely riding her way out of the start pen here, really getting the power down. And good to see Karolina, a rider who we're really quite familiar with, because we've seen her on some of our WOW activities in the racing, and we know she's a super strong rider. Now she's away and on the front, and they are absolute. I mean, the damage that's being done in these first 6K really is. It's surprising in some ways, and in others it isn't, because people are used to this course now.
They are, but Rebecca Johnson is in there and in the mix and on the back of the group. Very, very sensible, steadier pace start onto the back of the group. Now, also what's quite interesting is Becerra, Montoya, Piccolo is off the back of this group, and etc. So, you know, I think there's been some steadier starts here, but maybe they've been caught out, because I don't know whether they're going to come back on. It's going to be really, really interesting. Let's have a little run through the start sheets. So Hadlock, Piccolo, Hyde, Sonnerson, De Gracia, Bryson, Ciezekowicz, Montoya, Tomkinson, Simkin, Almansori, Becerra, Takova. It's a great start list, you know. And the question is, who is going to come to the fore? And
they're just some of the highlights of what is a 40-rider strong race field.
Stefani Piccolo, she's one of the really strong riders in Category 3. She's been caught out by that start, and she's having to work her way back onto the group. And I tell you, it is taking her a while.
Yes. What we do need to remember, though, of course, is that this is not necessarily a course that suits everybody. Stefani, I hope you had enough espressos to get back on to the back of this group, because the power and the pace, this instant kick-off from the gun, always a really, really strong rider, a rider who excels when the race goes uphill. I think you've got to, this is where, if you've got a great climber, Stefani Piccolo, in your group, you want to make them suffer, you want to make them hurt. You're not going to do it on the steep slopes of the Quermont, of the Kotakir, or the Valkenberg, or the Eichenberg. You are going to do that, and the only way to do that is by smashing in on the run-in, making them work on the flat. Really, really, to me, that is absolutely key. That is about going in hard early, try and catch people out, and try and make them work on the flat, which is not the favourite terrain. Again, we're seeing breaks, we're seeing gaps open up. We've just gone through the sprint here. You can see that the sprint jersey is going to be awarded out to Gina De Grazia. Good to see Gina out racing once again. De Grazia, one of our regular riders, just in front of Gina Van Rossum, one of our newer riders onto the Sunday Race Club. Good to see Van Rossum right up in the mix as well. So they're going to be our leading riders, going to be pulling on the green skin suit. Riders all over the place in Category 3. Fortunately, they're all together on the start line in Category 2. It'd be disaster if they were scattered across the countryside, because this is the riders' pen for Category 2. Amazing to see such a big field of nations. 16 nations represented in our Category 2 race field. None of our riders showing that they're representing teams, and that will change when we go into our finals at the end of the month, when those riders will be searching and picking teams, and that's all done on the Discord channel. And there's a lot of chat and a lot of community chat about getting the teams together. Great category race too.
It is indeed. 36 riders on the start sheets. When we were here in Belgium last time, it was 2.5 seconds between the top 15. Will it be the same again? Will we see a bunch sprint from this group in front of us? The Category 2 riders now well and truly out of the start pen, sweeping on to the course. We're in with German Prado. Now, Prado, a really strong rider. Well, there's so much class in this field, and Lisa Hermansen is the rider I'm looking at the moment. Often this is her type of course, short, sharp and punchy in comparison to some of the long climbs that we often see. But Wendy McAlpine, never discount Wendy McAlpine from making a podium on a course like this.
100%. Absolutely agree. She is a rider. What I like about Category 2, particularly Category 2, is you never know who's going to take the win. You don't just have a strong group of maybe 10% of the race field. I always think pretty much 100% of the race field in Category 2 can take away a win.
It's such a strong, the strength and depth and the tightness, the rubber band almost that is around the riders in Category 2, because they are so well matched in this women's race field. It makes for phenomenal racing.
I mean, if we started reading out the riders on the screen, Wendy McAlpine would be right up there in that mix, along with probably...
Stefania Sanchez, another great rider. Serena Vittori.
Altamirano, Embring, Svardström, Lytton, Wagner, Birkin, Prado, Montgomery, Walkenhurst.
Hill, London, Vittori, Sanchez, Penna,
Cassani, Canas, Moreno, Hermansen, Beltran.
I tell you, we can just keep going. Should we just read from the top to the bottom?
It's a bit like reading the phone book, where everybody's got a start of absolutely stunning. And it's not to take anything away from the riders in Category 3 or 4 either. It's just that Category 2 is so condensed with those dynamic
Well,
categories.
and I'll tell you, we have had one of the riders from Category 3 move up to Category 2 recently. Now, we know Holly Bergin's moved up, but also Angelica Altamirano, the Filipino rider, has moved up into Category 2 as well. There you go. There is Wendy McAlpine on the screen, and her top performances from Belgium. Now, interestingly, she has made the podium once. I think she can do it again.
Are you a podium top 5?
Yes.
Oh, it's like World Cup mountain biking.
Well, no. Well, World Cup mountain biking and MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club, the podium is 5 riders.
Okay. I'll take your word for that. I'm not sure. We're
gonna have. Oh, you should just seen the look I've given Matt in the studio.
It's probably a good shot. The camera's up. You will have seen our faces. If you wanted to know what it looked like, jump onto Facebook, onto Instagram. I wouldn't recommend it for mine personally. I mean, but you can also, of course, see us on the coverage of the World Championships.
Semi-finals.
And we will talk about that a little bit later on the World Championships. We're not going to give you any spoilers. Now, as we go in through the sprint area, Brittany Lytton kicking on through there and continuing to push here. Interesting tactics here, starting to shake things up.
Oh, she stretched the group.
Look at this. She's going through the sprint. She's really kicked on. Anna Svarström coming from behind. Now, for riders who are new at this, don't forget this is, or if you're viewing and you're new, the time through the sprint is not about the first rider over the line. It's about the fastest time through the line. So where you're positioned and where you kick from and move to, really, really key. Lytton coming through at pace and continuing to push here. She's got a gap at the moment of 4 seconds. If she could pull away 3 or 4 riders, that is a potentially race-winning move.
Well, I'll tell you, there's 31 riders in that group of Category 2 riders just going through that sprint section, and Brittany Lytton is doing a classic move that we see on the Sunday Race Club. We can see the stretch on the group behind who've just come around the corner, but quite often we do indeed see our riders pull sneaky moves through the sprint sections. They go for the sprint and then they just don't stop, because everyone assumes they're just going for the sprint and they're going to stop, but no, Lytton continuing the charge.
So Category 4 onto our first climb. Category 2 approaching the base of the climb. Sorry, Category 3 a base of the climb. Category 2 through the sprint. Category 1 on the start line. Amazing riders here. We've got the Chill Out crew, Dega Mashandi, we've got Effetto Skier, Calvin Bassoni, Giovanni, we've got the peak performance, Van Hoek, Korchitsky, and Bjarhead, Sweat Sensations, Velt, Fua, Brilliant, and Koistinen, along with riders from 16 nations. Now, that is the entry list rather than necessarily who's on the start line, because we know for sure that there are some very tired legs. Category 1, waiting, ready to go. It's qualifier, and away we go. The riders heading out on to course. This is going to be key.
Well, for me, this is going to be really, really interesting, because this is about who can recover very quickly, or are we going to see a steady state race here today with a bit of a finale finish, because these riders were all on that start line of the semi-finals of the World Championships on Friday. It's now Sunday, and we will see what is going on.
So our riders up and racing out and away in the top category here on the Sunday Race Club. It is the yellow jerseys of Category 1. Let's see where they what they do, or whether they will be heading out onto the course, aka the racing categories, maybe 2 and 3, whether we're down Lake Rockies. Is it going to be the Category 4 block group? We've already got one rider distance behind, but a lot of sore legs here from the World Championship. So now let's take you through some of these riders that maybe not in the teams, Emma. So let's focus on non-team riders.
Yes.
Who are in Category 1 first of all.
So a number of riders here. So Nelly Larsen is here. So is Catherine Fur, obviously on the squad. Soderstrom, Koistinen, Velt, Whitelaw is here. So Vicky Whitelaw in the mix, right up here at the front of the group. She is here too. McCarthy is here. Now, other riders, Van Hove, Koistinen in the mix. Mina Koistinen put in a great race.
I have to say,
Friday.
Yeah, we were watching the racing from Mina Koistinen, and really, really strong riding. Something to be very proud of. I'd be very happy if I put in the kind of performance in that World Championships. Nelly Larsen here from Sweden. The Swedish women's squad. Was it 13 riders on the start line?
13 riders on the start line in the women's race from Sweden in that semi-finals. And a huge contingent. Off the top of my head, I think it might have been 6 Swedish riders who finished in the top 20. I know it was a huge number. So a phenomenal job being done by that nation in terms of qualifying for the final. And we'll have to wait and see until those results are verified and published. But great job by the Swedish riders. My question today is, I'm looking back through my notes. And the last time we raced here in August, Catherine Fur took the win. When we raced here in July, Catherine Fua took the win. When we raced here in June, Catherine Fua took the win. Right the way through, back to March, Catherine Fua took the win. In terms of qualifier 4 in March, interestingly, that's the fastest time that has been set on this course, 53 minutes, 15 seconds. We have to go back to qualifier 2 in February this year for someone other than Catherine Fua to take the win, and Lou Bates took the win that time. So my question is, can anybody break Catherine Fua's run of form on this course today?
Well, I think it's going to be really interesting to see, because she has been so dominant, but she was racing in those World Championship semi-finals. And I think when you do a hard race on the Friday, which is Friday Eve, really late. So, okay, let's talk European time here at the moment, because that's where the studios are, and that's where my brain can just about cope with this morning, despite the coffees. When you race, for example, on a Friday afternoon, and then you're racing on a Sunday morning, you do at least have the day in between and 2 sleeps.
That's true. Recovery, sleep, absolutely essential for recovery.
You could have a siesta and have 3
take
sleeps,
naps,
but take naps as well. There's lots of different ways people will refresh and rebuild themselves and get ready. But you've still done that effort, and if you've really gone deep into the lactic acid, and you've maybe, because you've done a great ride or a bad ride, you've not warmed down perhaps correctly, or you've not warmed down as you should do, I think it's very easy after a major event. I know when I rode some of my target races for the season, I was always guilty of that. I didn't warm down as well. I was just enjoying the moment of being in that major target event.
Oh, but these riders, Matt, not, they have multiple target events, because the semi-finals was target number 1, and then the finals at the end of October, target number 2. Well, the target for Kelsey Jade Van Shaw, 22.691 seconds, top of the sprint, because it is the category 2 pack rolling through. I am not surprised. The entire category 2 pack roll through the sprint. Well, they don't roll through the sprint because that's a good strong time. Category 3 go through as well, and the people who are rolling through with a very steady start today, category 1 rolling through that section, 59th through at an average watts per kilo of 2.5.
Okay, now that you've mentioned the watts per kilo word, or words, watts per kilo is the amount of power for weight that the riders are putting down, and that is a real indication of how hard the riders are going. You can see here 4.2 watts per kilo for Hannah Goodall, leading category 4 over the top here. This is the summit of climb number 1, the Qualifier climb. It's a 2-stage climb, the biggest part at the beginning of the climb, steep 17% section. Then when you drop down and there's a second kick, you can see Hannah Goodall collecting the points in the climb competition for the fastest time up over the top, and the move made over the top there by Goodall with Bago, Francis, Fielder, Idzik, Fink behind. Those riders are clear of the chase by about 25 seconds at the top of the climb. Further down the climb, this is category 2. We've got category 3 sandwiched in between. Tiffany Penner is kicking the living daylights out of the pedals at the moment, because she is stamping away up here. 6-7 watts a kilo, chasing Brittany Litton. We saw the move made by Brittany Litton going through the sprint, attacking away and going clear. Now the chase is coming behind, and some of those riders that raced in the World Championships, I mean, I've just seen Ursula Kasani in here. We've also got it in the mix. I think Penna is racing here. She was racing in the World Championships as well for Canada. The Lithuanian rider in there. We've got German Predo in here, Sarah London in, Dana Wagner, lots of really strong riders in category 2. We're just in with Ursula Kasani out of the saddle here, sprinting on those drops, keeping really focused on keeping with this group on the climb. This is steep, this is tough, but this is part 1 of the climb coming up in towards summit, and we've got the really steep section coming up. We're about to hit it now, and you're going to see that gradient increase. Go around this right-hand turn, 10.8, 11.4, 11.9. It just keeps increasing. We're now over 13% and counting. The rider's going to come into this tight left-hand turn. There's a minimum resistance field that all these riders have to have. You can't set it to 0, just spin your legs around faster than a blender. You've really got to make this count by pushing on those pedals. You can see Brittany Litton here, having been caught back out of the saddle, turning those pedals around. Brittany Litton, a real inspiration. Another rider who is racing on Friday in the World Championship semi-finals, representing New Zealand. There now out of the saddle set, looking very, very strong here, and great to see that she's been able to jump in. Sometimes when you go hard at and you try and get a gap on the group, but then you get caught by the group, it's easy to go out of the back of that group. She's really jumped back in here, and that is going to keep her in contention.
Well, the mental strength, absolutely crucial here, not just physical strength. Yep. And it is about the whole person, not just the physical element. It is a complete package that is a great racer. And right at the front here, no surprise, Sarah London, Lisa Hermansen. Those are 2 riders for me. This is their type, of course. But Kasani is in the mix, Monica Rona, Anna Svalstrom, Tiffany Penner, Van Shaw is there, Prado is there, Amanda Poulsen, just 3 seconds off the back of the group. Can she close that down? That is going to be a really good question, because these riders are so strong at the front. They are about to hit the downhill section, and these 2 groups with a little bit of daylight between them, but look at Van Shaw closing that gap down, taking that second group back onto the wheel of the first. Van Shaw doing a phenomenal job not to miss the move.
Yep, really interesting moves in categories 4 in category 2. We just seen category 3 there, left-hand side at the bottom of your screen. Rosa Herrera in the mix here. The Spanish rider tucked in, got that polka dot skin suit on, the fastest climber over the top of the first of our categorized climbs, the Qualifier climb. That run through to the climb 6k of flat. Then you have the climb itself. Of course, 3.9 kilometers in total, but that's not all uphill with that downhill section, so really difficult to pace that. The leading group of riders are Montoya. You've got Hadlock in there, got Mabin in there, De Silva in the mix, Herrera in there as well. It's a great group that's gone off the front. I think Simkin in that group as well. Riders trying to chase to get back on again, and I think it's going to be interesting to see if this group can stay clear. They should do. Once you put that power down on climb one and you get that gap, as long as you haven't been really, really crazy and gone too deep, I think you could.
Well, you say that about staying clear. For me, it's about what the gap is. I mean, look at Isabel Bryson. Takova's 6 seconds back. I think Takova will come back on.
Okay.
I don't think Takova. I mean, look at it's 5 seconds now. She's already bringing it down, and I think this is a type of course that if the gaps aren't too big, when you get into that final 6 kilometre run and you start getting the riders who started behind you, the faster riders, it is possible if you are a smart rider to sit in the bunch and take the draft from a group behind you. Now, if you are new to the Sunday Race Club, our Category 4 riders come out the start pen first, 5 minutes before Category 3. 10 minutes before Category 2 and 15 minutes before Category 1. Now, the latter starting races are with the faster riders, so the fastest groups start last. That does mean then that we do see in some races catches.
Yeah. And I think that is really, really key, isn't it? It's that catch. Now, I was just taking a look whilst you were just explaining that, Emma. So I was multitasking, really proud of that. We've got Emily Mabin in the window on the left-hand side here, spinning those legs around. Now, Emily Mabin is a rider who I think is suited to this course to a T. A rider who can climb, who can spin really different cadences, but also a rider who can sprint well, which we've seen. A real ruler.
Well, a ruler is a good rider for this course, but so is a puncher. Somebody who can push and put in really big efforts on short, sharp sections. And that really is what the latter stages of this course are about. Once the riders are over the Cortakia, which is the longest climb, and you can see there Category 2 are about to come to the top of the Cortakia climb. On the right-hand side of your screen, Category 1, well, they are at 6.7 kilometres. They are on the lower slopes of the Cortakia. So Category 1 at the base, Category 2 at the top. Well, that's the leading group. And Gonzalez, Ruhr, Van Shaw, Lundin, Hermansen, Rona, Penner, Poulsen, 5 seconds back here now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, around 6 riders in this leading group in Category 2.
Category 2, really, really a push over the top here.
Van Shaw is so strong.
Exactly. You took the words right out of my mouth, almost quite literally there. Pinched them, took them away, stole them. Stole away those words.
Okay, I'm just going to...
Do you know what? Do you know what's real? Because that is a real... It sums up exactly how hard those. Just go on, Emma.
I need just to recap. I said 6 riders in the group. It's actually 7. But Amanda Poulsen, who we are watching at the moment, is the rider in 8th place currently. And the group, well, they are just ahead. This is going to be about how much did the group sit up and recover, because the numbers in the group are low, and how much can Amanda Poulsen time trial her way back onto that group. But 8 riders currently in the leading group in Category 2.
And this is really, really tough. Now, Category 1, Catherine Fuhr out on the offensive. She's kicking down hard. This is a rider who can put the effort in and recover. Getting that training right at the top level, absolutely key to be able to do repeated efforts. And the riders will train regularly every day. You just can't be at this level unless you are a rider. Now, that doesn't mean you're going absolutely flat out every day. It means that you are able to put in hard efforts and recovery efforts. Now, if you're at this level, you should be able to race. Now, I'm going to say this about Category 1 particularly. You should be able to race hard on a Friday and a Sunday.
Well,
and if you can't, you haven't got your training nailed right, because you need to be putting in. Because if this wasn't a race, you'd be putting in hard training. Look at Minka Soderstrom here. She sat down here, spinning those pedals away. She's looking comfy to me. That is not a rider who is struggling on the limit. That is a rider, for me, who is enjoying this race. Look at that.
Minka Soderstrom is a multi-time national champion.
Absolutely brilliant rider.
Yeah, she is. Multi-time national champion, doing a phenomenal job at the moment. McCarthy, is there too. So is Fua. These are 3 class riders leading this race. Big group behind, though. Bjarhed, Engstrom, Columbi, Holdcroft, Velt, all in that group behind, and it's a big group behind.
It's a big gap, though. 11 seconds to the riders behind at the moment. That is substantial at this point in the climb. Remember, we're kicking up over the top. We're going to drop down. You've got a slight descent here. It levels off. It descends again. Then you've got the kick. Marlene Bjarhed in the mix here with Velt, with Engstrom, with the chase. We have Van Hove, Giovanni, Whitelaw trying to chase onto this group. It's already split. The first climb of the day, the first part of the first climb of the day, it split the groups. Did expect this to a degree because it is Belgium and this is what happens, but we also know that those groups, it's very hard then to break those groups, because once those groups form, they tend to stay, and if anything come together, it's very rare that they break. It's then a sprint at the end, but it depends on how the riders racing, and that's what I really love about this course on the Sunday Race Club. The riders' decisions and how they play out the racing really affects the outcome. It's not just terrain, it's not just physical performance, it's how you mentally play the game, and that's the best bit about bike racing for me.
What, the tactics?
Yeah, 100%.
And the mental strength of the riders?
No, the tactics.
The tactics.
Yeah. Not bothered
and
about
how you execute them.
I'd love to see.
Oh, I tell you, we've seen.
Yeah.
Well,
I'd love to see those competitive riders, those combative. It's not aggression. It is the riders who are prepared to take on a race, who are prepared to gamble and put the tactics down.
Well, can I just say, I have loved some of the Instagram posts and the social media posts from the riders from the semi-finals of the World Championships, sort of alluding to their tactics.
Yes.
You know, the ones who absolutely had a plan and executed it and then absolutely crossed their fingers and hoped the plan worked for them, like Lisa Hermansen.
Yep.
Take a look at what Lisa Hermansen says about the semi-finals, because that was one plan that she executed to perfection. But then some other riders who were a little bit more gung-ho in their tactics, but it still paid off.
Yes, and I think that's really, really key. Now, quick reminder, we're going to try and avoid all spoilers at any cost. If we do spoil it for you, well, you should have got it watched soon. You've had plenty of time. That's the word from Matt.
Where have you been?
What have you been doing? Why did you not watch it live? Lost count with how many people did. It was brilliant to see. Thank you very much if you did watch. Thank you very much if you're new to the platform here on MyWhoosh. If you're new to the Sunday Race Club, we'd love you to join us. Don't forget you can download the app onto your device, whether that is Windows, whether that is on iOS, or whether it's a Mac, whether it's an iPad, whatever you're using to view it. Some riders prefer to have a smaller screen, but really close by. Interested to see Catherine Fua here, just spinning those legs around. These 3 riders, Fua, we've seen Fua, we have seen Soderstrom. The rider we haven't seen in the mix is Kate McCarthy in this mix recently. Sitting, spinning, really making this look smooth. I mean, absolutely style.
Well, McCarthy,
I'm a big one for style of riders.
Well, since McCarthy has come to the Sunday Race Club, she's got better and better and better. She came in and very quickly established herself literally on race 1 with a top 10 finish, and she stayed in the top 10, but she's been progressing up that top 10 right the way through into the top 5, and then she took the first win, or her first win, in the August final on the Passo Alto. That was absolutely phenomenal. Her and Catherine Fua had been battling it out for a couple of weeks, and the week before, it had been really good and really close, but she did come to the fore and take the win on the Passo Alto. Last week, it was a switch, and she came in second to Fua. It's going to be interesting to see what happens this week and whether Mika Soderstrom can beat them both to the top. Well, Fua, Soderstrom and McCarthy set the fastest times up the Kortekeer climb. 7 minutes, 12 seconds, 0.139. Marlene Bjarhed, 20 seconds back.
Yep. A big gap, 20.570 to Bjarhed, and in that same group, really, Velt, Engstrom, Holcroft, Columbi in there. Then you got Van Hove going up, and then the first of our Category 2 riders. So Kelsey Jane Van Shaw, showing what a great job she did going up there. Only 3 seconds slower than Amelia Van Hove as she went up over the top there. That is a great ride. 36 seconds down on Catherine Fua, Soderstrom and McCarthy. Nothing to be sneezed at when you've got the 4th place coming over 20 seconds down, and they are absolutely absolutely racing flat out here. We're in with Sophie Giovanni. She's got Vicky Whitelaw for company. But let's switch across to Category 4. These are our leading riders in Category 4. Hannah Goodall, Alicia Fielder, Katie Bago, Natalia Idzik in here, Ella Vink, Simone Francis. 6 riders clear in Category 4. Currently about 50 seconds back to the chasing group, Group 2, with Lloyd with the green sprint jersey winner. That's Petra Aiken with Alvarez sitting at 1:30. So that's another 40 seconds. So big gaps really opening up. They're at 18.8k, and that places them fairly and squarely, or almost right in the middle of the Valkenburg climb. This, a cobble climb that you come into it. It's a flat run with a little dip into it, and then you go on to this climb. The Category 4 road is about halfway up. When you go over the top of the Valkenburg, we have a long flat section. So if the gaps were small, you might have a chance to come in. And if any of these groups fracture as they go towards the top of the Valkenburg, there is time for riders to get on over the top before the leaders are accelerating into the descent. But the summits get smaller and smaller as you go through this course. The summit of the Cortakia and those flat sections are really long, about 4k of flat in total. As you move your way through, though, it comes down. You've got about 1.5 kilometers before the speed really picks up after the Valkenburg. When you get to the Eichenberg Hill, you've got a matter of meters, and the Eichenberg climb, it's almost instantaneous. You go up over the top and you're straight back down again, and they come in quicker and quicker succession. The gaps come down between each of these climbs too. So Category 4 midway on the climb. Category 3 here, Emma, they're on that approach.
They are indeed, Category 3 on the approach, but I'm just taking a look. It's 6 riders clear on Category 4. Nikki Lloyd leading the charge behind. I just got to say a little quick heads up to Nikki Lloyd. She joins me on Thursday night on the very first live coaching session of the women's only workouts. We are doing women's only workouts on Thursdays on the live coaching on MyWhoosh.
So just tell me a little bit about that. How do you join? How do you jump on board? For people who haven't seen a live workout, I've seen some, I've suffered some, not yours, then just do a little explainer for me.
So we're not talking video on demand, we are talking the live coaching of workouts on MyWhoosh. And normally when you go onto your homepage, it's on the top line. There's a little live coaching button. You can join those events up to an hour before, and to get on to that live event. We are going to go live every Thursday at 6:30 UK time.
6:30 UK time, that's 7:30 CEST. Now, it's live, that means I presume that you can talk to people, you know who's on the ride.
Oh, yes. And yes, you can see me sat in my pain cave suffering with you.
So you're on screen, you're talking and chatting away. Riders can talk to you and ask you questions.
They can do indeed. So the message boards are live. Get on your message boards. Make sure you chat on there. We had a really social event, actually. It was great fun, the riders who were on there. We've got riders coming back in to report about their racing this weekend. So we had a really great time, and the women who joined me, it was fabulous.
So if at that time slot you want to get some training in, or you're flexible enough to be able to move it around, do join Emma for the live women's only workout on MyWhoosh. And Emma, can I ask you at this stage, is it just going to be one, or do you have any plans?
There may be more.
Is there a megalomaniac plan to take over the world of training?
No. There may be more, but Thursday, 6:30 UK time, will always remain women's only.
Okay, excellent. So please do jump on and join in, and you never know, you might be putting those workouts to good effect here out racing in Category 4, 3, 2 or 1. Category 3 on the climb here now at about the same stage that we saw our leaders in Category 4. The leaders in Category 4 over the top of the Valkenburg. Category 3 in with Angel Hadlock at the moment. Rosa Herrera is really on form at the moment. She's been riding incredibly strongly, really has been looking like she's got this Dad Hadlock in here. Montoya riding well.
Yeah.
No surprises there. Montoya, this course suits her. And we see Rebecca Johnson time and time again. Rebecca Johnson is probably the rider that is hardest to pigeonhole as one particular type of rider.
You think?
Well, initially, she wasn't this amazingly stunning climber. She was great on sort of short courses. Then she became this rider who could win on big, long courses and climbs. Then she came back. And this is one rider that I can pigeonhole in one word. Amazing. Angel Ann Hadlock is great on any course. She can climb, she can sprint.
She's a great all-rounder.
She can attack. I love the attacking style. And a rider who gives it absolutely everything, which I really love.
I'll tell you who is on an attacking style today, and that's Rosa Herrera. Resplendent in that polka dot skin suit, saying to the world that she set the fastest time up the climbs in category 3 to be able to wear that skin suit. She's done it again. She's gone up over the top of the Valkenburg climb in first place in that group. And it's a big group of riders, 11 riders in category 3 in the leading group. They're up and over the Valkenburg climb. They are now at 19.7 kilometers into a 35 kilometer race. They go over the water at the top, they drop down the other side, then they transition on a excuse my words there. I'm just going to go back. They transition on a very flat section into the combination climbs that are the Eichenberg Hill and the Eichenberg climb. And then there's a 6 kilometre run to the finish. Now, the question is, will Rosa Herrera push on there with one or two of the other riders and really move through those 2 climbs and utilise them to break the group? Or are we going to see a big sprint from category 3? Well, it is a big group in category 3. Category 2, the group is smaller with just what looks like 6 riders down the road. So 6 riders leading category 4, 11 riders leading category 3. In category 2, well, they too are on the Valkenburg climb at the moment, and the riders really pushing on. We've got a huge number. It's the only phrase I can use. A huge number of category 2 riders. They're almost split into 2 groups, but not quite. It's just one long group at the moment. And Van Schol, Lundin, Gonzalez, Rua, Prado, Rona, Hermansen, Penner are all in the mix. Jaramillo is there. Svardström is there. It's a big group if this group stay together till the top and they continue to move through. They're just the 2 short climbs separating them from the finish. How many of those riders in that background can squeeze enough to get back onto this group?
Really good move on the front. This is what I'm talking about, setting the pace, making people ride. German Prado.
Look here. How hard you have to work to be in this front group.
100%. And Prado is setting the pace here. Prado is a rider up here with those leaders going, right, this is what we want to do. This is where we need to be. This is what we've got to do. We're going to go hard. They're separating riders out. You just don't want to take a massive pack to the finish here because we know how difficult the sprint is. You've got such a long run in to the finish that the sprinters have time to recover. They get that snapback. Sprinters are like having a really fast discharge battery. It's a bit like a lightning shock. Sprinters need to recharge the batteries to then kick and sprint and then recover. Now, if you're a general ruler or you're a climber, you're a hard rider, you can really make them suffer, but you've got to get them out of the back of the group. You don't want to take a sprinter when you've got so much battery recharge time from the last climb to the finish with you. This is still, for me, too big. And that means that you've got to bring that down. Unless you're a sprinter, you need to bring this down on the Eichenberg duo of the hill and the climb that are coming. That is going to be key. Where the riders are at the minute, the problem they've got, Kelsey J. Van Schol has already just won the sprints skin suit. There are 2 sprints on course through both of them and has already got that. Now, this is a rider who you don't want to take on in that sprint. Dorothy Gonzalez, really fearsome rider, great rider, very, very strong, and a rider who I think I would expect to see go on the Eichenberg Hill and the climb, bring it down to a small group, and then would be confident in that group. And I think for me that's a great tactic for any of these riders. I'm really interested to see what Tiffany Penner does in this in category 2 here. It's a balance. That race in the World Championships and now racing here, putting in a performance here, enjoying that win. And you come on the racing because, and I hope this is true of all our riders are racing because they enjoy the racing. Because they love great racing, which is what you get in category 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's great racing. And it doesn't matter whether you're at the front, the middle, or the back of the pack. I mean, it doesn't matter where you are. Dana Wagner here, one of our real strong riders, a rider who I kind of penciled in to be one of our favourites today, dependent on what had happened in the previous races. So today, I suspect there might be some sore legs there for Dana Wagner, one of our regular riders, one of our regular podium riders. And again, another rider.
Oh, she'll be back. She'll be back.
Normally a rider who we would expect to be handing it out, not necessarily having to ride it behind.
Some days you just need to get the job done.
Yeah, some days you are the nail, not the hammer. You know, you're the fly, not the windshield, and that happens to everybody.
Ew!
That was really loud.
I know.
Ew.
I'm sorry. I was just thinking.
Would you like to apologise now to the production team who have just currently got their ears bleeding everywhere? You can tell that Emma does not like the analogy of a fly in a windshield.
Oh no, poor fly.
That is unfortunately the way of life. For life, there must be death.
God, we're getting really philosophical now.
Let's not get philosophical. Let's get back to the racing.
Yes, let's do that, because take a look at what is happening here. Soderstrom, Fua and McCarthy are still locked together. The chase group in Category 1, 20 seconds back now as they come into the start of the Valkenburg climb. The last time we did a check, we had 3 riders in the lead. We still have those 3 riders in the lead, and we had 5 riders chasing. Those 5 riders are 20 seconds back. As what I just loved there. Category 2 riders that they caught, I don't know whether they were waving the Category 1 riders goodbye or just saying hello to us in the commentary box. I think they were waving the Category 1 riders goodbye, because Soderstrom, McCarthy and Fua have just stepped on the power as they hit the base of the Valkenburg climb. And however much Julia Walkenhurst and Marcel Smithers wanted to stay with them, well...
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know, I've quite literally said that in my head when I've been in that situation. Yeah. Oh, no. It's not happening, and you just kind of sit back down in the saddle.
At the end of it. It used to be me at the end of a race when you went in with other riders and they launched the sprint, and I would get out the saddle and go, no. Not a sprinter.
If you haven't watched Sunday Race Club, if you haven't heard us talking about Emma's complete and utter lack of fast twitch fibres, this is pretty indicative of exactly why we talk about different things in commentary, because I like to have a fast, aggressive, explosive race, because my stamina and my long-term pacing is absolutely rubbish, whereas Emma might just favour somebody going for a long solo breakaway from the start and hoping nobody came anywhere near. Right, into the racing here. Interesting to see the way that this race is progressing. We've got our 3 riders in front, the group behind.
6.
The pressure is on. It might be 6 riders, but look at Amelia Phelps. She's absolutely nailing this on this climb to try and bring this group back. I think it's a really fine line here. Go on the front and pull the riders up. Keep the riders together because you need them. You've still got plenty of distance to go, or break it down to a couple of riders, knowing there are 5 prizes on the line at the end of the race.
For me, this is too early to go. I mean, I know she's got a group of 6 riders here,
and she's towing them at pace,
and they've got 3 riders down the road. I don't think they're going to catch those 3 riders down the road, but 6 riders, they've only got the final 2 podium spots, so there is going to be a battle. But the Valkenburg is early. I would go on the Eichenberg hill and then go on the Eichenberg climb to really try and push it. But well, interesting to see whether her tactics play off.
And we are indeed on that Eichenberg hill that Emma described as the key point to go for them. So let's see what happens in Category 3, who are catching Category 4 leaders at the moment. We start to see Herrera now winding this up. She's gone up to 5.5 watts per kilo, just dropping the pace down, then coming back up again. That's indicative generally of being in and out of the saddle on the bike, just trying to keep the pace nice and hard. She's accelerated up. Meanwhile, top of the Valkenburg, you can see that we've got more riders in the chase group still chasing those leaders. 3 leaders, chasers coming hard behind, riders fractured behind this group of what looks to be 5 riders as they go up over the top. And I think, Emma, they might have lost a little bit of time there.
They have indeed. So it's 20 seconds at the bottom of the climb. It's 24 seconds at the top of the climb. So they've lost around 4 seconds. But take a look at that. It's so close. Velt actually setting the fastest time up the climb. She's in that chase group, 2 minutes 33. McCarthy, Engstrom, Soderstrom, Fua, Bjarhead, Columbia, Holdcroft and Van Hove, all within 0.8 of each other. That tells me that, well, that time was lost at the top. When they went over the top, they've slowed off quicker than the leaders.
So the leaders continue to push on just that little bit longer. as they go over because the time almost identical up the climb. And that isn't just shows you just that pace that these riders are sitting at. It is so fine. The differences between in the lead group, being in the chase group, being distance from that chase group. You can see on the left-hand side of your screen, this is the radar view. Basically, each of those discs represent one rider. Every time you see multiple discs together, that is going to be a group. If they're closely packed, it will look like one big disc. If it is spread out, then it is like dot to dot. Whether these riders can draw a line between them, pull it close, very difficult. Now, let's go to category 2 here. We are now going in to the base of the Eichenberg Hill. So 2 hills together here. Critical part of the course before we come off the Eichenberg climb. At the end of this, 2 very quick climbs. 1.4k, 1.6k, both steep. Now, the average gradient is 4.3 and 4.7% respectively for the Eichenberg Hill and the Eichenberg climb. However, the key thing here is that it's consistently hard all the way up. There's no respite, and it's a great distance at 1.4, 1.6k to sit right on the limit for both the climber and a sprinter, and that's something that's been used in the World Championships so far.
It has indeed, and take a look at this group. They are all working so hard not to get dropped. So Prado, Rona, Van Shaw, Lundin, Gonzalez, Rua, Penna, Hermansen, Sanchez. Jaramillo is one of the riders towards the back of the group. Vittori, Poulsen and Svardström. The damage is being done here. This is still early at the base of this climb, you know. They've still got some way to go, and Anna Svardström now starting to get distance. She's 6 seconds back from Vittori, a further 4 seconds back from Poulsen. This group is going to be smaller at the top of the Eichenberg Hill than it was at the bottom.
And surprising to see people like Anna Svardström starting to lose ground. People like Vittori losing ground. Great climbers, great ascenders. But it's the explosive nature of these climbs. It's flat. You get very little transition time. It's an instant snap. If you've ridden in Belgium, if you've ridden in the Flanders area, you will know that it is very much you're going along the floodplain, you're going along the flat, you turn, and then you've got the ridge. You hit it, and that transition is almost instant. But anybody who's ridden up the Koppenberg is a great example. You come in through the village, it's pancake flat, you turn onto the climb, and it's like, who put this wall in front of me? It's almost like climbing some kind of stone wall. Just feels like 45 degrees when you're going up. It's not quite that steep, but that's what it feels like. You hit it, it's so hard. Now, Gina Di Grazia in here in category 3, one of our real strong category 3 riders. Di Grazia in here chasing Carla Leonor, the rider in category 4, just in front. And Gina Di Grazia has been having, I think, she's had a really good season so far. This last, let's call the season, just for, I'm not going to even go into what season's what, say the last 2-3 months. I think she's had a really good last 2-3 months.
Yes, I don't disagree at all. And she's putting in a really strong ride today as well. And she's about to drop, well, is she about to drop Louisa Schultz? I don't know. Ooh. But Gina Di Grazia's look of concentration on her face as she continues towards the top of the climb. It's not far off now, just around 300 metres, 200 metres for her till she sees that polka dot banner.
Now in with Simkin right at the front of this group. You can see we've got Takova in here, we've got Simkin, we've got Montoya, we've got Hyde. So
7 really riders this is down to now.
But that's what you need to do. You need to break it down, don't you?
Yeah, well, it's gone from 11 down to 7 leaders in this Category 3 race group. They've got a Category 4 rider in the mix as well. But take a look at Kim Bonilla. Oh, the effort riding at the moment, her cadence at 60, but she's desperately trying to hold on to this group in Category 2. She's got Hill, Bergen, Lytton, Harmsen for company. It's a great group, but take a look at the effort going in to stay there.
Yeah, Kim Bonilla doing another rider really who has come to the fore in Category 2, a rider who's got super strong, and I you know, this is where it hurts. You are basically rolling in on the Eichenberg Hill. You're at 25k of a 35k race. You know you still got one more climb to go, so you need to have something left, but you cannot afford to use my co-commentator's phrase. You have to treat every summit like the race finish.
Well, you know you do. You're quite right there, Matt.
Funny that, copying your words. Didn't think you'd disagree with that one.
Great bit of insight you've just given us.
Thank you very much, Emma.
Well, talking about insight, take a look at the racing going on here at the moment. Fua, McCarthy and Soderstrom. There's a number of Category 2 riders that they've caught that have swollen the group. Wagner is there. Alta Marino is there. They are mixed in with the group at the moment at 24 kilometres. They're not going to be there for long because they are coming on the final stages of the run into the Eichenberg Hill. These two hills coming in quick succession. The Eichenberg Hill, 1.4 kilometres, an average gradient of 4.3. They drop off the other side into the Eichenberg climb, 1.6 kilometres, 4.7 average gradient. Well, I don't think these Category 2 riders will be with them for very long, but Fua, is she going to take the win again? I think McCarthy and Soderstrom might have something to say.
I'm really absolutely absorbed by the battle of the leading riders there. But I'm really impressed with the riders in Category 2 staying with them into the base of the climb. And when you think that we've basically got pretty much all 4 categories coming over the Eichenberg Hill and into the Eichenberg climb together, this means that we're going to have a really, really frantic finale. Now, just to clarify, all riders can draft from each other. That means you can hide behind a rider in a different category and benefit from the draft. A bit like if you were caught in a handicap race on the road, or a hare and hounds race, or a chase race, whatever you want to call it, whatever your terminology, where you set the faster riders off behind and the riders who, in theory, need a little bit more of an advantage at the front. Every rider can draft as when you're getting caught, and that is really, really key, because it does mean in this compressed finish, being able to draft and using that draft smart is going to be absolutely critical.
And one of the great reasons for doing this and setting Category 4 off first, then 3, then 2, then 1, is that we get to show all 4 of our race fields. And normally we see all 4 of our race finishes as well. And if we set the Category 1 riders off first, it would be a much longer show for our viewers. So trying to make the most of everything and give all of our riders airtime.
And it would also, the other thing it would do is mean that if you were off on Category 1 to watch Category 4, you'd be really in trouble. It's great to see Category 4 riders here. We've got the chase coming from Hannah Goodall. We can focus on that. We can focus on Katie Bago behind, chasing on. We want to give exposure to all of the riders in all the categories. We try and know about every single one of them. It's absolutely impossible because new riders join all the time. If you are joining, get in touch. Right. Key things to do. Message at biking_Emma. Put it on your hit list of things on your list. If you've got, like I have in the office here, in the studio, a whiteboard with to-do list on it, message at biking_Emma. Tell her about what your stats are, your training are, what your targets are. If you're going to message me, please do at Matt Fix a Pain. If you're Melissa Simkin on the attack, tell me about your racing tactics. Tell me about which bits of the racing. I'm all about how it feels, what that action's like. That's what I want to know. I want to know that. I want to know whether you have 16 coffees in the morning to get you going. What is it that makes you tick? That bit inside your head. And then, of course, don't forget, make sure you tag in at MyWhoosh, because the team there are just as involved as we are. We get to tell you that we are. They are as well, and they watch the racing avidly week in, week out. They're going to be watching right now as we see Mary Kate McCarthy go over the top with Catherine Furr, with Soderstrom here as they go up and over the summit.
There's one more climb to go.
The Eichenberg Hill. We have one more to go. Now, this transition is going to be really key for them, because behind
this
the chase is working well. Now, you saw the leaders go through. Here come the chasers. This is a big chasing pack. 6 riders, if I'm correct here, on the way in to the descent, behind 2 riders distance, just coming through behind. So look at the difference here. We've got our race chase group, Velt, Holcroft, Engstrom, Bjarhead, Columbi, Van Hove, coming through. They took 2 seconds out from Soderstrom, from McCarthy, from Fua.
Can I just say as well, on the right-hand side of your screen, Vicky Whitelaw is having a storming ride today as well. But Velt, Holcroft, Engstrom, Bjarhead, Columbi and Van Hove, the chase group working really well. Just behind them is indeed Whitelaw. She's not far off the back of that chase group. Soderstrom, McCarthy and Fua, the 3 riders down the road. Well, they are absolutely motoring now towards the finish. Just the Eichenberg climb coming, and you can see the chase group on the descent. It's at 27 seconds seconds. Really interesting. It's been 20, 24, 25. It's now at 28, but they're climbing strongly. The issue is that it seems to me that the pack at the front are not slowing down as much on the transitions.
And that's where it really does show, doesn't it? I mean, if you go out with a group and you're really struggling, you can hold all the way in up the climb because you're putting in that constant effort. When you go over the top of a climb, if you're in a group, if you're out on a ride here, that's when you really start to struggle. So the riders on the way into the climb, this is going to be critical here. One more climb to go. This is going to be the Eichenberg climb. They're going to be heading up and over. Then it is a flat run to the finish. This will be key. Fua in here in the lead. This is the climb they're going up on to. The Eichenberg climb. Let's show you what this looks like. And that running. This is going to be key, Emma. What happens between here and the finish? I don't think anybody's going to attack per se. I suspect it is going to be about those time gaps, as you said, between the riders. So we've gone through climb 1, climb 2 and climb 3. Talk us through climb 4 to the finish, Emma.
Yes, the Eichenberg climb is the final climb that our Category 1 riders need to face. 1.6 kilometres, an average gradient of 4.7. But take a look at that profile. It sort of lulls you into a false sense of security, then really kicks at the top. A very, very steep descent on the other side. And, you really can extend your lead if you go over the top in one and you push on that descent, because it will just give you that run and pick up momentum very, very quickly. Then you've got the long transition to the checkered flag. It's 6 kilometres. And I can tell you, we will see categories start to sweep up riders, and we regularly see a sprint finish here.
And the finish here is really key. What you can't see, because this is the profile, is that finishing line, we basically do a right-hand turn, a long sweeping left-hand bend. It straightens out, and then we have a right-hand curve. And although it's a long curve, the finish is tucked around it, partway round. And because of that, the riders have to be really aware of where they are. It is an advantage to either know the finish because you raced it before, or to be really good at spotting the banner coming on the left-hand side on that radar view. It's indicated by the yellow arch for the race finish, and that is going to be key. So let's jump in with our Category 1 riders. Currently on the way up the climb, they are trying to close down absolutely everybody on the way in. Let's see how they go. We are on this climb. They're on the way up. It is Fua. It is McCarthy. It is Soderstrom on the climb, leading out. That gap is continuing to get opened, I think, looking at that distance. I think the gap's going out. We'll get confirmation when we get to the very top here. And if any of these riders fancy a long solo breakaway, now is the time to do it over the top. Break the other rider. If you're not going to break them, what's even better than pushing up far enough in front to make them chase hard, to make them work on their limit, because they think they can always get you back. If you've gone away, sometimes riders will back off on the climb. What you need to do is go hard enough to keep them engaged, to make them work hard. And that's what Fua, I think, is doing here. She's working hard enough to engage the riders behind and make them work. She's not yet gone flat out, and as you can see, she's at 6.1 watts per kilo. When you're screaming at the screen, Matt, this is hard. Yes, it is, but this is not flat out. But that she's making them work, putting them to the limit, knowing that they're going to engage and stay with it, rather than putting a massive kick, open a gap, and then they sit at their own pace.
Well, she's not going to be able to drop these two now. These two,
no, too close.
Well, in fact, these three so well matched. This climb's too short, too sharp to drop these two. McCarthy, Fua, and Soderstrom really well matched here. This is going to be who has the tactics for the finish line, who makes the jump first, or well, is it who makes the jump first or who gets the timing right? It's going to be about the timing for that finish. This is the chase group coming up. The top 3 have gone over the line, but the chase group was 6. Still 2 podium places to come from this chase group, and Holdcroft, Velt, Engstrom and Columbi. 4 riders now gone clear. Van Hove not made the split, neither has Bjarhead. So the 6 riders in the chase group have become 4. This is going to be a sprint for those final 2 podium places.
30% of this group Another mass stat from Matt today. Going to be able to jump in with the prizes if the 3 at the front go clear. We will see if that's going to be the case. Remember, we have seen riders have problems before, just like racing outdoors. Indoors is always still subject to things outside your control. Well, as the leaders sprint down here at 70 kilometers an hour, the leading riders over the top were our race leaders. Fua, McCarthy, Soderstrom. Going over the top, your top 3, nearly, wait for this, 6 seconds clear of the chasing group of riders. The race is on the front. The pressure is on. It's going to be absolutely key. Now, Category 4 on the way down here. They're at 34.3k. The decisions need to be made about the finish. This is going to be critical. Simone Francis on the front, winding this up. Our finish line, you can see it on the left-hand side of the screen, just around that right-hand turn. The yellow gantry, the finish line for the Sunday race of the qualifier race number 2 is round that turn. Who will jump first? Who will blink at the right time? Can they answer whoever puts in the first attack? Idzik and Vink here with Francis, the Petite Four squad represented at the front by Simone Francis. Will she be able to take it home? Idzik goes at 7 watts per kilo, up to 9 watts per kilo. Massive kick by Natalia Idzik. Is the prediction going to be right? Will it be Idzik? The response has come from Vink and Francis, but I think they've got no response that will halt the progress of Idzik. Natalia Idzik takes away the win in Category 4, the first rider across the line in qualifier race number 2 on the Sunday race club behind Vink and Francis, both in and through the line. Vink rewarded with the green jersey. All 3 riders will be up in the points as Category 3 head for the line. And it's going to be Angel Hadlock who's taking this away if she can continue this to the line. This is a massive push from the Category 3 leader. She's being chased by Simkin. Can they answer that 11 watts per kilo kick up by Hadlock? Simkin's gone. She's just about holding off Herrera behind. Then Montoya and Vasquez and Montoya and Herrera in an absolutely monstrous battle. It's taking them onto the wheels as Simkin and the leader, Hadlock, has got the gap. Is Hadlock going to take this? Angel Hadlock coming up towards the line. Our race leader, will it be a race win? They're coming quick. Can they get on the heels? They could get there. This could be Montoya's. They're side by side. Kathleen Montoya overhauls Hadlock in the last meters to take away the win in Category 3 from Hadlock, Herrera, De Silva, Francis and co.
Wow. That is all I can say.
Blimey.
Absolutely wow. Those Category 3 riders, that sprint, that early push, overhauled literally on the line. But on the run into the line now is Category 2. It's Kelsey Jade Van Shaw and Monica Rona. This is 2 up because Tiffany Pennant is 3 seconds back in 3rd.
This is the run for the line. Will it be another sprint victory for Kelsey J. Van Shaw? She unleashes the power. She's got to keep clear of Rona, but she's not doing it because Rona has gone. Van Shaw's answering. Rona's together. That is going to be a photo finish. Who is that going to go to? This is going to be so tight. Look at the time. It is going to be Van Shaw from Rona by fractions of a second. I think that is in the hundredths of a second.
Yes, indeed. 0.77 of a second.
Ooh, what a finish, what a race for the line. Fantastic racing in categories 4, 3, 2 and in category 1. Now in category 1 we have a real mix of riders here because we have Fua, we have Soderstrom, and we have the other rider with who's tucked in at the moment, McCarthy. I'm just looking to make sure they're all there. 2 yellow jerseys, 1 green skin suit to pick from these riders.
Yes.
So the green skin suit, which is basically green shorts and green jersey, is being held by Mika Soderstrom, category 1 rider with that sprint leaders jersey. Behind, you can see the rider chasing is going to be closing down. It's McCarthy, but Fua wanting to wind this up. It may well be she just wants to get clear of those category 2 riders to make this a clearer and more easy to call sprint. You don't necessarily want that confusion, particularly when one of your competition is wearing the green skin suit and you've got green jersey category 2 riders with you. Making it a clean sprint, less confusing. A bit like if you're at the lead of a Madison and you've got riders on different laps. Sometimes you just want to pull that clear. You want to get that group down. It's not necessarily working because they're coming back. I mean, Lam Kong is an absolutely amazing rider. We know this, and the Category 2 rider jumping back on. And this, I think, is going to be typical of this run to the finish. It's going to be about the kick. We've taken the right turn.
Fua's pushed again to go clear of the riders because they've also caught some Category 3. She does, you're right, Matt. She wants this to be clean. She wants this to be Fua, McCarthy and Soderstrom with none of the other riders in the mix.
Really difficult finish when you've got riders around you, but that is one of the great things, and that is one of the things that is amazing about having all 4 categories set off in the way that they do. Riders can watch, they can learn, they can draft. Don't get better by riding with people who are slower than you. So because you've got the opportunity in categories 2, 3 and 4 to ride with category 1, you get to see what you need to do. You get to see those tactics. It's going to make you quicker. All our riders improving with this amazing competition. Our leaders in category 1 on the left-hand side of your screen. 500 meters to go. Right-hand side of your screen. The chasers working hard behind Columbia and Holcroft with Velt in there. 3 riders clear of the chasers behind, but this could be very interesting as we come into the finish. They have got a real run to the line to go here. We're going to come into this long right-hand bend for the leaders here. You got zigzags to come in. Very interesting. The tactics being played out by Catherine Fua, trying to break clear, trying to open the gap. They're all staying with her. She cannot drop the riders behind here, Emma.
No, this is about timing as well, and we've seen timing in some of the other race finishes already being absolutely important. Do you go long and risk being caught on the line? Do you go late and risk somebody else having a bigger kick than you? Really interesting tactics. It's going to be great to see what these 3 do.
What would you do?
Oh, me, I would probably go long because I'm that type of rider. I don't have an instant kick. I'm a bit more of what I would call a slogger than a sprinter.
Okay. You said that, not me.
I can hold a more average pace for a longer time than a high pace for a short time.
Well, Celine Colombi has been holding a high pace for a long time. Here you can see the focus here from the Italian rider on the left-hand side of your screen. We know that Celine Colombi, fearsome competitor. She's got Velt, she's got company here. She's got to make this count here, and it's going to be interesting. 3 riders, and there's going to be 2 places available in that group. Somebody is going to lose out on prizes. Prize for the top 5 riders in each of our race categories. The riders who should be assured of prizes, well, that is McCarthy, that is Soderstrom and Fua. Fua in here, we're coming in. This is the long straight before the right-hand turn. Who's going to blink first? We're at 5 watts per kilo low. Now we see the kick come from Soderstrom. Soderstrom coming at 11 watts per kilo, nearly here. The answer comes from Fua at 13. McCarthy puts down 12.5 watts per kilo, but they're sustaining it and they are holding onto the wheels here. Soderstrom leading out in the green. Fua alongside McCarthy. They're going to come over the line together. Who's going to take it here? What a race run. McCarthy from Fua, from Soderstrom. I think we just wait it in to see if that is confirmed. What a race in for the finish there. That is going to be brutal. Here we go. Round the turn. This is the chase. Holcroft from Velt from Columbia. Maria Holcroft's going to be in the prizes, so is Velt. Columbia just missing out as they come through, and behind them, this is group number 3, the remnants of group 2 that was split off the back. Another sprint coming. Van Hove versus Engstrom here. When are they going to jump? The banner is round the corner. This is really, really, really key. Got to make a move. Got to move now. The move's gone from Van Hove. She's opened it up. Engstrom's coming behind. Can Engstrom come? A photo finish. Getting some serious abuse here today on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club as every single rider comes in. Marlene Bjarhed with the clear run in. I think one of our first clear runs.
Well, let me tell you, Mary Kate McCarthy taking the win from Catherine Fua in 0.048 of a second. Soderstrom in 3rd place, 0.147 of a second back.
So 1st to 2nd place, 5/100ths of a second, separating 1 and 2.
Racing.
Look, just.
And can I tell
thank you, riders, for keeping it so good.
And can I also tell you, take a look, 4th, 5th and 6th overall are the first 3 in the category 2 race, and that's because categories 1's race winning time of 56 minutes 40 seconds is more than 3.5 minutes slower than the best time on the course.
So maybe category 1 here with that predominance of riders who took part in the World Championship semi-finals. And then you can see the riders behind in categories 2 and 1 packing out the top 19 positions here. The full results on www.mywhoosh.com. Go onto the menu, go onto results and click on to the Sunday Race Club, our women's race qualifier race number 2 here for September 2024. Amazing racing. We wondered who would be feeling the effects of those semi-finals. I think we have had some of those questions answered in our women's race here. Thank you very much for watching, and please do hit the subscribe button on YouTube, on Twitch TV. Please do recommend a friend. And remember your tasks when you finish watching today. Go on to @BikingEmma, @MattFixerPain, and @MyWhoosh on social media. And even better, sign up, jump on board, and come and ride and race. My name is Matt Payne. It's been a pleasure putting words to the action with Emma Martin here. A big thank you to the team behind the scenes. Please do join us for the men's race, which is coming next. And we have got yet more fantastic Belgian goodness coming your direction in the men's race. So join us for that. We're going to take a short break. Stay safe. We'll see you again soon.
Goodbye.